Have a pleasant day, everyone. For today's video, in mathematics in the modern world, which is a mathematical language ensemble. Without further ado, I am going to tackle or discuss about in mathematics as a language, section 1. So, as you can see in the picture, it is a photo of Galileo Galilei. So, role of mathematical language in learning mathematics. So, one of the quotation of Galileo Galilei is to understand the universe, you must understand the language in which it's written, the language mathematics. So we won't be able to read the universe until we've learned the language and gotten familiar with the characters used to write it. It's written in mathematical language with triangles, circles, and other geometrical figures as letters, making it impossible to interpret even a single word. So the language of mathematics. All of us students frequently have trouble understanding mathematical ideas, not necessarily because the ideas are difficult, but because they are being presented in foreign language, which is the language of mathematics. So as a student, or we can say that mathematical concepts are frequently difficult to understand or comprehend, not because the concepts are difficult, but because they are novel, that's presented in foreign language. So, definition of language. First is the system of words, signs, and symbols which people use to express ideas, thoughts, and feelings. It consists of words, their pronunciation, and the methods of combining them to be understood by a community. So the language of mathematics is more precise than any other language. One may think of that like other languages, it has its own grammar. Importance of language. So first is language was created to allow people to transmit their thoughts to others. So language was invented to enable people to communicate or transmit their ideas or thoughts to others. So in language of mathematics was designed first numbers, second sets, third functions, and last is the perform operation. So like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Those are the perform operations. Next is characteristics of mathematical language. So in mathematical language, there are many characteristics. First is the precise. Second, concise. Third is powerful. Fourth is non-temporal. And fifth is the comprehensive. So when we say precise, it can be stated clearly. So you may able to make fine distinction or definition. So it means precise, it should be accurate or clear. Next is concise. It can be stated briefly, so it should not need a long explanation but stated directly or summary. So that is concise. So powerful, can express complex ideas into simple forms. So it expresses ideas to make it simple forms. So that is a powerful. Non-temporal or nuance. This makes the language unique as compared to other language. So this non-temporal characteristic makes the language unique. So comprehensive, has no vocabulary and part of speech. So in English language, there are many parts of speech like noun, pronoun, and whatsoever. So in mathematics, there are parts of speech also. First is numbers. Numbers plays the role of nouns, object used to represent quantity. Numbers like 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Second is the operation symbols. Operation symbols means act as a adjectives in mathematical sentence. Like for example, the plus sign or the addition, negative sign or the subtraction, times, and division. So those are the operation symbols in mathematics. The third is the relation symbols. So when we see relation symbols, it is used for comparison and act as verbs. So this means this relation symbol is used to have the connection. So for example is equal, less than, greater than, is less than or equal, is greater than or equal. So those are examples of relation symbols. The fourth is the grouping symbols. When we see grouping symbols, used to gather and cluster a group of numbers and operation. So these symbols is used to cluster those numbers or variables. So for example is parentheses, the brackets, and the last is the braces. So those are the samples of grouping symbols. The fifth is the variables. When we say variables, letters or symbols that represent quantities act as pronouns, like for example A, B, C, and so on and so forth. But usually the variables used in mathematics are X and Y. So that is a variables. So in English, nouns are used to name things we want to talk about, like people, places, and things. So whereas sentences are used to state complex thoughts. So nouns like name of people, places, and things, those are nouns. So the sentences is state being of complete thoughts. So it is not called a sentence if the word is not have a complete thoughts. For example, consider the sentence, Jason loves mathematics. So her Jason and mathematics are nouns. So because noun, as I said a while ago, is talk about like people. So Jason and mathematics are nouns. Loves is a verb. So without loves and sentence, it should not have a complete thought. Next is mathematical expression and sentence. So mathematical expression is a mathematical analog of an English noun, people, places, and things. It is a correct arrangement of mathematical symbols used to represent a mathematical object of interest. So, in short, mathematical expression does not state a complete thought. In particular, it does not make sense to us if an expression is true or false. So, numbers are the most common type of mathematical expression, and numbers have lots of different names. So we all know that numbers are numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So, example, 5, 2 plus 3, 10 divided by 2, 8 divided by 2 plus 1. Then last is 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So those are numbers, or these are the example of a mathematical expression. Next is mathematical sentence. When we say mathematical sentence, it's the analog of an English sentence. It is a correct arrangement of mathematical symbols that state a complete thought. So this means that mathematical sentence has a complete thought, unlike the mathematical expression does not have a complete thought. So just in English, sentences have verbs, so the mathematical sentences like 1 plus 2 is equal to 3 is read as 1 plus 2 equals 3, or should 1 plus 2 equals to 3. And then the equal sign, there is one of the most popular mathematical verb. So verb is used to connect a sentence. Like for example, 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. The 1 plus 1 is the expression, because expression, as I've said a while ago, does not have a complete thought. And then the equal symbol is a verb. Why equal symbol is used as a verb? So without symbols, the sentence or the given is not being stated complete. Then 3 is also an expression. So 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. It is a sentence, or we could say that this is a sentence because have a complete thoughts, the expression and the verb. So the symbol plus is a connective. A connective is used to connect. So objects of a given type to get a compound. Object of the same type. Here the numbers 1 and 2 are connected to give the new number 1 plus 2. A familiar English connective for nouns is the word and. So like 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 are given then. The and word is used to connect the 1 and 2. Like in table below, name given to an object of interest. And then English, noun. Noun means talk about person, place, and things. Like for example, Carl, Manila, and book. So these are example of a noun. So in mathematics, expression. Noun in mathematics is an expression. Like for example, 5, 2 plus 3, and 1/2. So these are the example of expression in mathematics. Next is a complete thought sentence in English. The capital Philippines is Manila. For example, the capital of Philippines is Manila. So that is called a sentence because it has a complete thought. The next sentence is the Carl is reading book. It is also have a complete thought. So because Carl is reading book. So in mathematics, sentence 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. It is also called sentence because 3 plus 4 has a complete thought, because 3 plus 4 and 7 is an expression. Then the equal symbol is a verb. That means is 3 plus 4 is equal 7, a sentence. The next is 3 plus 4 is equal to 8. It is also called a sentence. So one way to decide whether something is a sentence or not is to read it and ask the question, like, does it state a complete thought? If the answer is yes, then it's a sentence. So before we can say that is a sentence, we must have to read it first. Then we must ask ourselves that is have a complete thought. So if that is have a complete thought, so that is a sentence. So consider, for example, the number 1 plus 2. Read it 1 plus 2. Have stated a complete thought, but if you say yes, 1 plus 2 is equal to 4, then you have stated a complete false thought. So 1 plus 2, it is not stated a complete thought because does not have a verb. Like for example, unlike 1 plus 2 is equal to 4, it is a sentence because the equal sign is used to connect the two expressions. 1 plus 2 is equal to 4, so that stated a complete thought. Alternately, you can ask yourself the question that it makes sense to us about the truth of the object. Consider again the number 1 plus 2 is true, or we can say that 1 plus 2 are false. These questions don't make sense because it does not make sense to us about the truth of the expression. So that's all for my video discussion about mathematics as a language in section 1.